like value, right, that our community embraced. I remember a time, man, me and two of my partners, we decided to skip, man, right? And long story short, my friend was at home and he was sitting in his living room and his mom came and said, "Why are you sitting up here all day watching TV? Why don't you go out and play? Why don't you go over so-and-so house? I'm just calling, why don't you go over Evan Evans' house?" And he was like, I can't go over there. And his mom was like, "Why not?" He's like, "Cause he on punishment."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Okay, well, why don't you go over Ty's house? Go play with him." "I can't." Why the hell you can't go over his house? Cause he on punishment too. And check this out. Immediately she said, "Damn it, if they on punishment, you on punishment too, because I know you was with them."
There you go. There you go.
No questions asked,
no
man.
Questions asked.
No questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
Man. But that's the type
automatically understood.
Automatically understood. I remember I got in trouble sometime and they said I was with 3 people. My mama named the people off and told them she was about to call.
Right.
She didn't need nobody to tell her nothing. Because again, it's this intuition about knowing your kids. I remember I left my kids at home and my kids were younger and my cousin was in here putting together a ceiling fan for us and I had to go get a couple of parts. So I go to the hardware store and I come back and he say, "Now, Patrick, I don't know who it was, but one of them was playing in the water and the other one was doing this." And I knew exactly which one of my children it was because I know who was my water bibber and I knew who was my dirt dabber. You know your children because you've been around them, because what they don't know is you're watching them, right? Mm-hmm. You're watching them to the point that you pick up their idiosyncrasies without them even knowing that you got them. And I think that's what happens with friends. That's what happens with family. That's what happens in community. You begin to pick up those idiosyncrasies so that you feel the same way about things, even though, like I said, we didn't all grow up on the same block.
Right.
But we still had the same values because those values were still important. But the thing about our values was this: they wasn't just to keep us from trouble; they was to keep us alive.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And let me say this now. The thing that is so important about the street light is that the street light came on when it was beginning to get dark. And so if you understood that you need to be home when the street light comes on, that means that they were making sure it was dark because nothing happened good in the streets after dark. But here's the other thing. And because we all grew up here in Michigan in the 48505, we all know that in the wintertime, it gets dark a lot earlier than it does in the spring and in the summer.
That's right.
So it wasn't about a curfew. It was about, okay, nothing going on that you need to be a part of when it's dark outside. And so it wasn't about a curfew. It was about the street light being that thing, that needle that determined where you were supposed to be at a certain time.
Yeah.
And y'all, that's what it is to have intuition when you're hanging out on the front porch. We'll be right back, y'all, after these messages.
If I could do one thing, I'd make sure that there were more textbooks in schools. I'm a teacher. I've seen the need. But my girlfriend here likes to say,
don't just talk about it, be about it.
And we're about the 2020 census.
Because when everyone gets counted on the census, it helps inform public funding in our neighborhood for the next 10 years.
So don't just talk about it.
Be about it.
Complete the census online, by phone, or by mail. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov.
And we're back, y'all. Back on the front porch, y'all. Presented to you by the North Flint Neighborhood Action Council, Community Foundation of Greater Flint. And since it's 2020, it is a privilege to have Community Roots presenting to you the front porch. And so as we get back on the front porch and we dealt with hindsight and we talked about insight, let's move and let's talk about foresight. Let's talk about how we pitch this thing around, because these kids don't know nothing about the street lights. They don't know nothing about this idea, because I don't know if they're as connected, or at least not the way that we were. I don't want to say maybe they're connected even more through social media. Let's talk about it for a minute, y'all. What's some foresight that we can give some of these folks?
You know, the foresight, and I'm gonna make this real simple. The foresight, if it worked for us, it'll work for our children today.
Come on, unpack that for me.
So so often we believe that just because there's a new day, that the rules that apply in the past don't work anymore. And I want to say, as my brother Todd says all the time, we have to make sure that we understand the context. But just because there's a new day don't mean we got to throw that thing out, because the street light still comes on, right? And if we got young people out and they know that that there's an expectation of their behavior, that there's an expectation of their conduct, of their language, or how they relate to each other, then we will continue to produce people who will be contributing members of society.
That's good. That's good. Come on, Todd.
So piggybacking a little bit off of what Sylvester's saying is, you still teach your kids to look both ways before they cross the street.
That's right.
That's always going to be a rule until you're able to fly. You see what I'm saying?
There you go. There you go. There you go.
So we still teach our kids, look both ways before you cross the street. So I think now the question is, what type of value or rule do we need to share with our kids that's metaphorical to look both ways before you cross the street? With the ultimate goal that they remain alive, because our job is to help them save their lives, right? We don't save it. This brother told me this way: we don't save their life. We help them save their lives.
There you go. There you go.
Because we ain't gonna be around them forever, right? So if you get from me, from Willie, from you, Patrick, from Sylvester, look both ways before you cross the street, because if you don't, some harm can come to you, then we've done our job, right?
Come on now. Come on, Willie.
Wow. And for foresight, I would say that understanding and the meeting of the minds as a whole can be a simple thing. It don't have to be all convoluted and complicated with a lot of words and stuff. It can be emotional. It can be a feeling that you have.
Come on now. There's something to that, Willie. There's something deep to that, what you just said. It's funny. Go ahead, Sylvester.
No, I want to hear Willie unpack that a little bit more for us.
Well, for me, I hate to keep coming back to it, but this just rings about love to me, because that is the only real feeling that I get when you don't have to say the words to make a person understand where you're coming from. Your deeds speak for you. Your words. You don't have to. You can be few words, but you can still convey that feeling, that understanding, that you love a person like that, you know.
And Willie, I'm glad you took the time to offer us a little bit more on that, because the one thing that that we didn't understand then, but we understand now, is that because they loved us, whether it was your auntie, your parents, whether it was your neighbor or your friend's parents, because they loved you, they had restrictions and they had rules for you to follow. And it was all because they loved you, right? So I think it is rich that you would pull love out of this idea that was once understood need not be explained, right? I love you enough to make sure that we all understand this thread that runs through our community.
So let me ask you this. Based on that love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And thinking